So give it up for a dynamite on the stage, John Burkhart.
Very good. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry to be annoying and make you guys move to the center, because that's like a really bad way to start out, but it will make sense. It will mean you guys get a better shot at me to properly hurt me. And that will come in for my sins in creating a movement, much like a bowel movement. Okay, so welcome to the Ballsy Guide to Getting and Keeping Attention. Those are my balls. I am very excited to be on this stage because this is all about sparking a positive change. And I think some of you are sick and tired of the way marketing is done. So what I'm going to propose in the next little while, because I'm doing my little clock here so I don't go over, is a few tips to help you get and keep the attention of the customers that you need, you crave, you desire them and their attention more than ever. Because I'm the real-time marketing guy, which I'll explain later, it would be great, and you will win stuff, including my card games and various other things that I'll be throwing at you. Becomes a bit of a theme, throwing. I would love for you to Instagram and tweet the things you hate about me, and the things that might where the penny dropped. And you will definitely, I can already hear, that guy talks too fast. I can already tell you what some of the things will be. We may skip some slides because I just react to how the audience is loving and or hating. I do that in real time, and some people are annoyed by that, so I'll just get that out of the way. I want to talk about the saddest puppy in the world. Does anyone recognize the saddest puppy in the world? No one? Desmier? None of my Brits? Okay, cool, good, don't ruin it. The saddest puppy in the world, he's sad because of what you guys did to him. You guys as in the marketing community. He's almost as grumpy as this character. Who doesn't recognize this character? Okay, Grumpy Cat. I can't give you a lot of things, but I can give you access if any of you would like to meet Grumpy Cat, because that conference that you were like, what the hell, that is South by Southwest. Show of hands, has anyone been to South by Southwest and or, oh, this is great, and or heard of it? Heard of it, Ben? This is good. So Grumpy Cat comes every year, and if you're nice to me, over the next 24 minutes, I can sort out that. So this is why it's the saddest dog in the world. Why? Because this is a dog that is the dog sponsor of Andrex toilet tissue. Now, dogs don't naturally have an affinity for toilet paper, and they don't use it like we use it. But this dog had the opportunity to be the spokesperson for one of the biggest crimes that I'm responsible, I think, for creating. How many, by a show of hands, would admit before an audience of your peers that you are a scruncher or a folder? Don't answer. That is a stupid, ridiculous question, and that should never, ever be gamified. If you were in London at some point 2 years ago, you could go home after a tired day at work, and you could say, I'm exhausted, but you know what? There's a debate. I'm going to join that debate. There's a debate going around in the world whether you scrunch or whether you fold. And I think that is wrong, and I'm embarrassed to even be talking about it before this audience. That is real-time marketing, I think, and that's the crime that we're going to solve. You know what I would say the main problem with stuff like that is? I would say a little bit of this stat. 65% of you and me are operating without a content strategy. So when an opportunity to gamify your bathroom behavior comes up, you think, wow, I'll jump on that. Don't jump on that. because people don't care. What people do care about is where their attention is. Every 60 seconds, 104,000 photos are shared on Snapchat. 2 million Google searches you can read. Basically, people don't have time for your dog and pony show, especially if it involves toilet paper. This is what we're going to cover in the next 20-ish minutes. I want to propose to you a checklist on how you can look at the content that you're making and you can say, is that ballsy? And that's an acronym that we'll get into. I also want to have the first ever Ballsy Balkan battle, which I'll explain in a bit. That may involve some of you scrambling for some of these ginger little treats here. Now, I also want to cover the 3 C's of content strategy. I want to have the first ever Spark Me Truly Ballsy Content Awards. And also, I'm going to give you, wait a second, that was all too quick for me. Could you slow down and just give me some reading material? Because I didn't understand a word of that. I'm going to give you a reading list so you can turn off now if you have emails you need to send. So, and the final tips will just be, what did I miss out in my desire to cover what I cover in a 2-day workshop in 20-something minutes? I have to explain my ginger balls. These ginger balls are mine, and the reason I'm in love with my balls is because that house. Does anybody recognize that house? Of course you don't. It's just a house, an old house in America. It's in Chicago. It's the only house that if you go and work there, they make you play what I call football, because I live in the United Kingdom, what Yanks call soccer. I played soccer there. It was my first job. It was the US Soccer Federation. Then something happened in the World Cup where the USA beat England 1-1. And it was unbelievable. Clint Dempsey hit what I call a worm burner. It was like a little dribbler, and it went through Robert Greene's legs. I declared it International Robert Greene Day, dressed in green, had a flag rotating on a bicycle helmet, and went to my peers, who were all British, and did this.
USA!
Again, rotating flag. Is that you booing, or is that not? Okay. That might be you booing, is it? Okay, I'm insecure. So the reality was, I got there, they'd removed my desk, I had to sit in a corner, completely obsessed with sport. That is the only reason I tell you that, because you need to know why I've put my balls on display. They are a voting mechanism. You will get a chance to use these balls to tell me what you think, A, about my presentation, and B, about your opinion of good, bad, and ugly content. This is an interactive thing. There's a lot of balls. But the whole reason I've even been asked to speak on this is because of this lovely book that the Germans said, the magenta burns holes in my retinas. So it's a lovely design book. Thank you, Germans. And this is about brands. I'm going to do this in 1 minute. I'm going to cover the whole book, and I'm going to give out copies to the Ballsy Content Award winners who know who they are. Brands started getting crazy when Twitter came about, thinking they could jump onto trends. They did this in a haphazard way, but fortunately, my book had come out right after a tweet that was sent in the Super Bowl that was called The Tweets Heard Round the World. Oreo said, you can dunk in the dark when the lights went out at the Super Bowl, and the world of marketing went crazy and said, I want to jump on that. I want to shoehorn my brand into every live conversation going, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. Fortunately, I came to the rescue trying to say, no, 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 no. This is about a content strategy. This is about what you stand for as a brand and how it relates to what people actually think about you. People don't think about scrunching or folding. So we need to tell Andrex to give it a rest. So these are the sins that I ended up committing. This is the main sin, I would say, is let's hijack whatever is trending, hashtag sale, hashtag Clooney. This is, has anyone, I'm guessing from the size of this audience that some of you have seen brands or even been responsible for committing some of these sins, probably accidentally. But what I want to do is pick each one of these off, just like kick them all in the bollocks and say, let's not do that, because I have to be responsible for the fact that my book led to this concept called celebrity death-jacking. Are any of you familiar with celebrities dying and brands jumping on board to try to capitalize from that? Can you yell out the name of a celebrity that a brand has newsjacked or deathjacked? David Bowie is one for the attentive. Any others? Michael Jackson, Prince, etc. This is scary. Crocs. How many of you right now, I'm just going to look at your fashion sense. How many of you, oh my God, there is some Crocs. Oh my gosh, Vanya is wearing Crocs. So Vanya, that's not really good because they're responsible for the David Bowie commemorative shoe. And this is a sin that I want to stop because it gives me nightmares. When I see you wearing Crocs, I think of this. I don't like that. So we went from newsjacking with me trying to help brands find a proper reason to fit into a conversation. We went from that to an accidental movement that I did not mean to create, which was called brand spamming. It's a ready, fire, aim approach. Can you guys see what's wrong with a ready, fire, aim approach? Well, here's the tricky rub. The tricky rub is there's bad things about ready, fire, aim, and then there's good things, because the reality is what we all, as marketers, need to do is we need to appear to be ready, fire, aim, but actually we think things through where we're ready for any scenario that happens. That's what I want to prepare you for in the next 18 minutes. Ready, fire, aim. It looks like you're ready, fire, aim, but the reality is you've thought of everything that can happen when, as Heather mentioned, the Montenegrin prime minister gets shoved aside by King Trump. You know, I was desperate. I mean, I looked through all the memes of the meme of like, will the guy with the shortest penis come to the front? I looked for all of the memes, but I didn't see a brand having the literal balls to do this. And maybe that's a topic that doesn't fit a lot of brands' content strategy, is the political scandal sort of scenario, and that's fair enough. It's good for you to know that that's off limits, but you need to set that and establish it with a written content strategy. How many of you actually have a written content strategy for the brands that you work on? Just a raise of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, easily 2% of you. So this is what, for the rest of the 98% of you, this is what it can feel like when you just go with something because you think it may work. This is the gift of the year. This is what your content does to human beings. It gets better the more you watch it. I'm going to sit down and have a little watch. And then what I'm trying to do with that little arrow is we're trying to be that fat guy that saves the day. I really, after we finish here today, I would really love for people to come up and say, John, I'll be that fat guy. I am going to freaking stop the train of destruction and the trail of dead that my clients are leaving behind. If you're up for that, you can throw a ball at me later when we hand them out. And of course, we're not going to hand them out. You're going to throw them now. This is another example, because a lot of you, I hear you thinking out loud, you know what, we've got tools for all this social listening, and we didn't know that like the Boston Massacre Marathon was going to happen in our scheduled tweets. We're going to talk about cranberry scones. We just didn't know it was the tools' fault. Don't blame the tools, because if you blame the tools, you end up being like nacho foul ball lady. A foul ball in baseball came towards this lady, and her content strategy is as follows. She says, this is the thought process. Look at her reaction. I'm going to catch that fly ball with my plate of nachos and my beer. She genuinely looks upset. Look at the face. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna work. Oh no, it didn't work. It didn't work. I couldn't catch a ball with a plate of nachos and a beer. Come on, lady, don't blame the tools. You're the idiot. You're the tool. If that's all you remember, actually, if this is all you remember, I want you to remember this, because anybody familiar with this Drake video? Show of hands. I love this. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Someone, there was a whoop, which I love whoops, so I'm going to talk to the whooper. Someone basically said, I like Nintendo Wii. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just put a little bitty touch on something that everyone's talking about, and people are going to love me for it, and they're going to think I'm cool, because I am cool. And this is what happened. She literally just put a little Wii thing there, and I think this is beautiful. I defy you to think that this couldn't be something that you all could do. I think you could all do it, and you'd look a hell of a lot cooler than me. I am an uncool dad dancing. Virginia will take the stage in 20 minutes and show me up on that front. Now, this is how I want your content to draw people towards you. I mean, like, I can't even do it, but I'm just like, I'd love to be that cool. Like, I have never, ever been cool, but you can be if you plan this right. I would love for your fans, for your brands to love you. And this is all I ever wanted for anyone, is just to be loved. And that is what it feels like. So, while I catch my breath, you know, the main thing that really irritates me is when I hear, John, this whole real-time thing, it's just not what we do in our culture. You know, I was in Lithuania, and they were like, we're not even on Twitter. We can't be brave. And, you know, I hear all of this, and I understand the cultural situations going on. But I also know you can take baby steps with your internal culture, just the way you gather together and the way you talk about what's happening in culture and how your brands can be relevant. I know that we can obliterate this phrase, we've always done it this way. This is what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about this quickly, but I'm going to go through every step, and it's going to be, is it brave? Is it actionable? Actually, I'm too fat to jump. Hold on. Is it likable? Is it long-lasting? Is it surprising? Is it you-centric? The reason I'm not reading these words is because I'm going to actually prove these steps to you, and I'm going to prove from these lovely ladies on the front row, they have been applying. There are people in this audience that have been applying a ballsy content strategy to the content they've been making of all the speakers. That includes Rob Fitzpatrick, that includes Max McEwen, that includes my man Cameron. There are people who've been documenting this conference in the ballsy framework, and it excites me to no end. So, this is an example of the fact that we have to stay current. Okay, this is actually very rude, so hold on, I'm going to protect some privacy here. So, what we have here is Rihanna wearing what I would call a transparent or sheer dress. I would say she knew that this was see-through, and I would say she had no clue that Peter Griffin was wearing the same dress. You know when you go to an award show and like literally someone is wearing the same dress? Do you know how humiliating that is? But instead of being humiliated at Peter's faux pas, she said, Peter, you're no competition for me. She changed her avatar. That brand of Family Guy, that brand did that within an hour. They showed to their fans how current they were, but currency is only one step. That gets immediate attention. What I want you guys to learn with me, we'll go together on this journey, is immediate's great, but newsjacking is one part of the story, and it gets more fun as we continue. Sorry to hit you there. Here we go. That was a nacho moment, not knowing your audience who wasn't listening and got hit in the face. So, real-time video is too amazing for words. How many of you remember what Germany did to the host of the World Cup in 2014? Can anyone spout out the end of the final score of Germany versus Brazil? Anyone? 7-1, thank you. While it was 6-1, I could not watch what was on the television. This is what you did to a whole nation who were hosting the World Cup. You did this to them in real time. That is your fault, and you are brilliant. I wish Snapchat was around, because I think you could have Snapchatted that. I think that was 10 seconds. Do you realize what you did to capture a whole nation of Germans that were like, that was a real-time thing that all these people could have done on stage here in 2 minutes. Thank you, Virginia. Watch her show next. That's what you do to people, Virginia. You disarm them and you crush their lives. In a good way, in a good way. And you'll find out more about the disruptive tactics in a bit. So, essentially, in 1 minute, here's a case study. You gotta be current, so KLM are the best at customer service. They update their page on Twitter every 5 minutes to say how long it's taking them to answer a customer service query. Then they say, oh my God, you left something on the plane. So they attach the notebook of your grandmother's journal to a dog, and the dog delivers it to you in the airport. They are current, but they don't stop there. They use dogs. Currency, canine, that's not one. Consistency, that's the thing. They take every moment when they can think, what are people feeling? And they think, wait a second, you're not going to believe this. Some people get stuck in airports at Christmas time. That sucks. That really sucks. But what they did is while people are having a layover, they had a Christmas dinner. But the thing is, it's a communal thing. Just like I asked all of you guys to sit together, and that was really uncomfortable. I think that we do genuinely need to try to feel connected, emotionally connected to each other. So the way this table works is the more people they got to sit down, the lower the Christmas dinner table became. So you couldn't actually eat way up here. You had to get people to sit on these seats. Innovative, looking for the moments, consistent. They're current, they're consistent, and because of that, it creates an emotional connection. They're great on social. They actually answer other brands' requests, and it leads them to doing this kind of thing. It leads them to saying, oh my goodness, Amsterdam, you're only 14 minutes. 14 minutes from the city. So if you got a layover, why don't you go hang out with a local? And you can get to know Amsterdam with a local. This is an app that they have that people have loved, and the locals win tickets for every person that they connect with. They think, because I think, KLM is one of many brands, I wish, they're one of few brands actually, that say, what would your content look like if your customers signed the check? That is something I'd love for us to explore together. Like, this is not about me, the brand. This is about you, the customer. This is why the you-centric is really crucial. I want to bring all these folks up. I want to bring up these people. Ivana, Benjamin, Anya, and Marietta. Right here, I want you to, everyone to grab balls. We're gonna grab all of these balls. This is the final, the finale. All of these are gonna, so this is gonna be the last 2 minutes. Because this is what I live for. I live for celebrating you. Can I have my ladies up here? This is the last hurrah. Marietta, right here. As they're coming up, I want to say, you guys, Ivana right there, working in places you don't believe in. This is I looked at all the data. This is the bravest piece of content that I've seen. I love you for that. Benjamin, who's not here, actually said this is about sparking positive change. The most retweeted tweet that was actionable. This is a little bit of likability from Rob Fitzpatrick that I created. This is amazing, Anya, like basically bringing in pop culture, Dory, and again, this was actually the most retweeted and liked bit of ballsy content from you. Thank you very much, Anya. And then finally, the best legs at Spark. I want you to start voting now, because this, I want to make sure we beat Max McEwen and Finding Dory and make sure Matt Desmier and Jass's legs are the most retweeted of the conference. And Marietta, I love you. You basically said, it's all about the customers, and that is all about being you-centric. These are my people. I want you all to stand in a row in front of your picture, and I want to thank you as all of you stand. I want you guys to vote with your balls individually as we're running out of time. What I want you to do is throw your balls as hard as you possibly can for my sins in creating real-time marketing, but this is about these people and how awesome they are. If you think Evena's content was the best, again, hold on. No, I didn't say go. I didn't say go. Come on now, you people, take lessons. If you think Evena's content was the best, throw your balls now as hard as you can at me. Yes. You guys count the balls. I'm going to get my glasses. Someone literally broke my glasses. Okay, you guys count those balls. Evena, you're amazing. Now we're going to go with, Benjamin's not here, so we're going to go with Anya. If you think Anya's bit of content is the most ballsiest thing from Spark Me, this amazing conference, throw as hard as you can at my face. I basically caught most of those. Thank you. Okay, I know exactly how many balls were thrown because they're my babies. Now, finally, we have the lovely Marietta. If you think this is the most ballsy bit of content from Spark.me, this amazing conference, I want you to throw your balls at me as hard as you possibly frickin' can, and then I'll award the book to the winner. Go. I told you to throw at me. Thank you. I'm going to count the balls and award these lovely ladies. Thank you so much. I'm exhausted. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sweating. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.